Hey guys, I've got a video today on a 2007 Nissan Quest. This is the V6 3.5 liter. Anyways, it came in, complaint was leaking power steering fluid pretty badly, and it ends up needing a pressure line on the power steering. So I'm just going to go over how I did that. I couldn't really find any good information online for it. So, kind of just went at it on my own, and I'm going to show you what I did. So for starters, if you look up in the passenger side fender well, better shot I guess is around here. You'll see that banjo bolt and electrical connector. That is the feed side, I guess you'd say, coming off of the power steering pump. It's a 24mm wrench. Go ahead and bust that banjo bolt loose and take the connector off there. Have a drain pan ready, you're going to lose some fluid. So take that off, and I let that drain for a while. And then if you roll around to the other side, on the driver's side now, actually I'm kind of right in the middle, but more towards the driver's side, just to the left of the catalytic converter. Looking up there, you see that hose clamp, and then below that there's a blue, can't think of the term right now. Anyways, the blue end at the end of that line is going into the rack, the steering rack or steering gear. So you're going to bust that loose. The stock one for me was a 14mm, and in order to get it, I reach one hand around the driver's side control arm, and then the other hand straight up here behind the sway bar to get two hands on it and bust it loose. So you'll pull that out, and then there are two brackets holding this line in place. One of them is just to the right of the catalytic converter, where you see that white connector up there. There's a 10mm nut. I guess it's a 10mm bolt. You're going to loosen that, and I ended up just breaking the bracket to get that hose off. But you might be able to pry it off and save the bracket. I'm just running mine without it. And the final bracket is the hardest one to get to. It's way up at the top. It's hard to even show you. Way up there you'll see the foil or the heat shield wrapped around the power steering line. And I'm sorry it's hard to show this, but way up at the peak of that, there's on the stock hose, there's a wire tie, and that wire tie is just next to the bracket that needs to come off. It's bracketed to the head, to the engine, and then the other half, there's a 10mm nut holding that to the line. I was unable to get the 10mm nut, so instead I used a 12 socket, standard socket on a 3/8 drive ratchet, and I was able to reach up and remove the 12 bolt from the engine and get that whole bracket removed. And I did not put that back also. I think it's just a little unnecessary to have that many brackets holding this line in place. So hopefully that helps you. If you're doing this job and run into any problems, feel free to comment and I'll try and help you through it. But that's how I did it without removing anything. In total it took probably about 2 hours. Then once you're done and have everything tightened down, top off the fluid and bleed the system by leaving the cap off and turning the wheel to the stops, and then a little less and a little less until you have all the air out of the system.